Welcome to enVisioning Success, the weekly podcast where Laura Di Benedetto and Julia Becker-Collins share tips, suggestions, and stories to help you succeed in business. In today's episode, we discuss 5 strategies to guide your hiring process, including providing trial opportunities, prioritizing team players, hiring from within, and ensuring a careful hiring process and a decisive firing process. And now, here's Laura and Julia.
Hello and welcome back to enVisioning Success. I'm Laura Di Benedetto, joined by Julia Becker-Collins. We are your co-hosts, also the co-owners of Vision, a really awesome marketing company celebrating 25 years of incredible, kick-ass success. And this show is for you. It's to help you to be more successful, have fun doing it, and quit being just a giant stress ball pain in the ass to yourself. So we're here to make marketing easy for you. And this episode, we're talking about hiring the right people. I think if you've ever walked down the road of human resources, you know what a burden hiring the wrong people can be, and also how expensive it can be. Julia, I know you've got horror stories and some scars that may or may not have scabbed over.
Yes, it is. As the person responsible for hiring and firing at Vision, and the person responsible for hiring and firing for I don't even know how many companies at this point in my past, it is traumatizing to be on the employer side of things, but also it is incredibly expensive. So if you don't hire correctly, it is one of the most expensive mistakes you can make.
Ooh, so true. So yeah, it's almost the same thing with marketing. Somebody said to me recently, and of course I got to be a smarty pants in reply, and I always take pride in my smarty pants responses. They're like, "Oh my God, your services are so expensive." I was like, yeah, no shit. You ought to see how much it costs not to hire me.
Mm-hmm. It's true.
So anywho, I don't struggle in the confidence department, so I'm a good hire. Let's talk about being careful when hiring. Julia, why don't you tell us all about that?
Absolutely. I would be happy to. So I am a big believer, big, I will die on this hill, tattoo it on my forehead all day, every day.
You wear bangs, that doesn't count.
I'll tattoo it on my chin.
Oh shit.
My chest, I'll get a chest tattoo.
Post Malone.
Exactly. I'll put it on my stomach like a wrapper. I'll do all of it, right? I will wear the t-shirt, buy the billboard.
You look like a 1980s school desk.
I'm fine with that. Like etch it into the wood. Now we're aging ourselves.
Uh-huh.
I really firmly believe in hire slow, fire fast. And that's not a term or a phrase I came up with. It's something I've adopted over the years. It can be controversial. I'm okay with that. But I think it is one of the best things that you can do as a business leader and the person in charge of hiring and firing at your company. I had somebody once say to me that firing somebody who isn't a fit for the job, so you're not firing them for cause or just not a good fit, is a kindness.
Yep.
Because you're opening them up to opportunities where they can succeed even further because you're letting them leave the company. And it's entirely true, but most people don't think about it that way. Hiring slow, firing fast is the essential part of be careful when hiring. Most of the time when you're hiring, especially if you're building out a new position or if you're hiring for a position where somebody quit unexpectedly and you have a workload that you really need to fill and you're feeling the pressure, oftentimes what happens, no matter the size of the company, is you hire the first warm body that can fog up a mirror. And 9 times out of 10, that's not going to work out well. You need to hire for culture. You need to hire for cultural fit. You need to hire somebody that understands what you need. If you're somebody that requires certifications and certain knowledge, you need to hire for that. If you're like us and you hire for a person, like not personality, but you hire for, does this personality get along with other people? Do they have the soft skills that they need to have? Are they trainable? Are they moldable? Are they interested in being trained and molded? Do they understand what the Oxford comma is? Because I will die on that hill. Yes, Laura.
I will also die on that hill, but are they a team player? Mm-hmm. Do they enjoy collaborating, or do they get curmudgeonly when confronted with leadership.
Correct. Do they understand how to set their own timelines and goals? Can they work independently and as a team? Can they give and receive constructive and positive feedback? That is harder than you would imagine. Most people really struggle, myself included, receiving positive feedback. Are they self-aware? That is incredibly important. Everybody is good at something, and that doesn't mean you're good at everything. So you're good at some things, you're not good at all things. And are you aware of what you're good at and what you're not good at? All of those things are incredibly important to us when we're hiring.
Mm-hmm.
So that means that we take our time to find the people that are a good fit for what we believe in and what we do. And that is something that is incredibly important for any business of any size and stage, to find the right fit, not a fit. I am in the process of hiring right now for a number of positions because we are in a tremendous growth period, which go us, we're amazing.
Holla.
If you're watching us on YouTube, you can see Laura doing a victory dance, which is incredibly well earned because we have worked really hard to get here. But because of that, we've had a lot of interest in the roles. We've had a lot of people apply. I had over 500 people apply in 6 days for a single job. And I know. And one of the things I was getting back was, oh my goodness, you don't have availability for this interview for a week or two. And I said, yes, we've had tremendous, unprecedented interest in this position. And so that's when the availability is there. And we're very committed to hiring the right person, not just somebody.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're along for the ride on the hiring process, that's great. And if you're not, that's also okay. Maybe you're just not a fit for us. But I highly, highly recommend that business leaders and owners, HR professionals, et cetera, really double down on this idea of hiring the right person rather than just somebody who can sort of do the job.
Mm-hmm. And the amazing ideal human being that you just built already works for us. Her name is Katrina, and you can't have her.
And she's producing this podcast episode. So we have to really always say nice things because we love you. Never leave us.
She might show my bad side, not cut out my my stupid gaffes. So here's a second one for you. It's trying before you buy. Everybody's heard of the 90-day probationary period. You can actually emphasize it and make it clearer that it is a probationary period. Many people will opt to have benefits begin after the 90-day period. There are also ways to pit people on temp to hire through a temp agency. It really all depends how you want to position things. But at the end of the day, you really want to have an opportunity to really view the candidate that you're bringing on through the lens of, this is a trial. We want to see what this is like. It's a very, very long, extended, paid working interview, basically. So if you construct something that can really allow them to not just receive tons of training in their first 90 days, but really to flex and show off what they've learned and how great of an asset they are and how innovative they can be and whatever other things that you want them to do, see if you can construct your first 90 days to highlight their strengths, bring it out and reveal certain things, because ultimately you don't want to get a year down the road ankle deep in a really big project before you discover, oh no, this person can't do what I need. You want to learn that early on. So you do want to really push the person early on and make sure that you bring people on that are excited to be pushed. People that like that and that are eager to show you their stuff and show you how great they are. You know, this is really what I was saying about, you know, you don't want someone with a curmudgeonly attitude. You want someone who's excited about the collaborative process and they know it's a trial, but also understand that it's a trial for them too. Like, they really want to make sure that you're a good fit and you want them to be just as excited to like push all the buttons before they really make the firm commitment. So I'm always a huge fan of communication. Huge fan. Couldn't be a bigger fan. That's a hill I'll die on, that and the Oxford comma. And it's just important that you work with people who favor communication as much as you do, that can express a lot of ownership and that are interviewing you. It's a two-way relationship. Trust me when I tell you, it might feel nice or very early on in your career to have people who are obedient and subservient little doobies. Trust me, that's not how you build a great company. You build a great company with the partnership and the support of people who are excited to participate in the win as much as you are, and they want it for their own reasons. They love succeeding for their own reasons, and they're willing to go hard, not for you, but for them.
You said so many great things there. I couldn't agree more. One of the things is about having the potential employee test out the employer. I always say to potential employees, it's like dating. It needs to work for both of us. My hope is that they come to the table checking us out and testing us out, just like we're testing them out. It absolutely should not be one-sided. One of the key pieces of advice I give to college students or recent college graduates that are on the hunt for their first big girl job is that the job application process feels like it's one-sided and all the power is with the employer. But in actuality, it is very two-sided, and it should be, because you should want to work where you're working. I'm not saying it's the greatest thing you've ever done. I'm not saying it's your lifeblood, and I'm not saying it's your passion. I'm saying you got to like what you do because you're spending more time doing it than anything else. And you have to like where you're doing it. So you should like the people. You don't need to be best friends with them, but you should like them. So that's really, really important. And when I look for the perfect person or the ideal person to join our team, I want somebody that's asking good questions, not because you're supposed to, but because they're thinking about it. And they're really considering if we're a fit for them. The other side of that, or another part of that, is what you talked about in terms of try before you buy. Another thing you can be doing as the employer is having them do an assignment. And we do that as part of our hiring process. Honestly, I couldn't tell you the last job I had where they didn't have me do an assignment. And, to be very frank, I think there's some pushback against that right now from, again, I'm going to make myself sound really old, the children, the Gen Zers. And I don't know if that's because, they don't want as long of an interview process or what, but as I always say, it's great to want things. It is really important as the employer to understand how somebody takes direction. So not just, are you giving me writing samples? Because for us, most of our positions are very writing heavy. It's how do you follow direction? Are you doing what I'm asking you to do? Are you getting me the thing by the time I said to give it to me? Are you sending to me in the format I've asked for? Sometimes the assignments are more about following directions than actually the writing you're providing. And that's very important to us as a fully remote company. Can you follow directions with minimal instruction and or ask for clarification and still meet your deadline? So all of that is incredibly important when you're hiring. And I will say it again. I said it before. I will continue to say it, that hiring wrong is one of the most expensive mistakes you can make. So it's great that people don't want to do an assignment, but if you have them do one, you can probably save yourself a big chunk of change.
Mm-hmm. There's so much to be gained, even just from the employee side as well. Like if you're bringing someone on and, let's say they don't have direct experience, this is where a sample or, assignment or even a paid working interview, like just spend a day with us and we'll pay you, can be so useful from their perspective. If they have lots of transferable skills, but you and they have not seen them in action in the capacity that you need, but you both believe in their ability to do it, cool. It's a great chance to actually test that and kick the tires and be like, wow, I really enjoyed this project. I'm going to love this job. Or that sucked so much. Thank you so much. Have a good day. Like you want to make sure that they actually enjoy the work they're doing.
100%. I mean, I remember when you and I were having conversations about bringing me on to the team, I came in for a paid day of working and to see how I got along with everybody and see what my day would be like and get a better sense of things, because you can talk about it till you're blue in the face, but actually doing the work is a whole other thing. And one of the questions that came up that day is one of the team members asked about what to do about a client problem. They asked you deferred it to me. And it gave me a good sense of like, oh, okay, these are the struggles people are having. Here's how they give and receive feedback. Here's what they're used to. Here's what they're not used to. Are they receiving my guidance? Are they listening to what I'm saying? If I'm going to lead them, what's going to happen? So again, like you said, Laura, it's helpful on both sides. You can see how the person leads or implements, and then they can see like, oh, this is what I would be walking into.
Mm-hmm. Solid. So let me take on number 3, looking for team players. You really want to look for team players. And, you'll find me people at every level of seniority and experience. And these are not people that you really want to bring on your team. They're resistant to leadership. They are resistant to collaborating well. They struggle to provide good communication or to receive good communication. A good team player goes beyond skills. It's getting along with the other people, having really good interpersonal skills, excellent communication, but also truly a desire to work with others. So I've talked about DISC styles in the past. It's actually part of our application process. There are certain styles that tend to have more of a natural fit towards certain roles, but it doesn't necessarily have 100% accuracy. It just gives you a little bit more insight. For example, D personalities like Julia and myself are more generally suited to leadership. When you put someone who has a D personality in a team environment, oftentimes they don't always thrive unless they've adapted and they know this about themselves. This is the whole self-awareness piece that you were talking about earlier. If you get a high D that's extremely self-aware and has done the work to learn how to adapt and be a really good team player, they will have done the work to acquire those skills. Someone like in the S and C personality styles, even the I to many degrees, they thrive in a team environment much more, especially the S. They're like built for teamwork. There's a lot of different things to this. I always direct people to crystalknows.com so you can get like a free DISC assessment for prospective employees, current employees, and yourself. And what's really nice about that is it helps you to understand how other people really prefer to communicate, prefer how to work, and prefer how to make decisions. And that's really what that does. So in the context of looking for team players, I want to be very clear. There is no wrong answer when it comes to DISC profiles. Julia and I make an excellent team, but we've made it our mission to get over our heavy D-ness so she and I can be a really great team. We have learned how to communicate with each other because the desire was there for us to be a really good team. She wanted it, I wanted it, and that's really huge. There are certain things that you can pick out in the interview process. Again, you can kind of demo people and, put them in an environment and see if they're really good at doing a team project. You don't want this to be like, a college project where one person does all the work. It doesn't really communicate that, together everyone achieves more. It's so true. You really do want to have people who, whatever their personality style, have committed to and have become excited about collaborating for the company goal, the team goal, and want to steadfastly commit to that over ego. Ego will kill your team productivity every time.
Great points. We love a personality test. We also love the Enneagram test. I totally nerd out over it. It's very fun. There are types. So 1 through 9, you can have a wing, which means that like you have a primary type, but then you have a subtype, etc. That's also very helpful when you're leading a team of people because it talks about motivations. So everybody's motivated differently. You shouldn't lead everyone the same way. Hopefully I am preaching to the choir here and people understand that. But the Enneagram test helps. It's more informative for somebody that's leading somebody else. So like if I'm leading somebody who's in type 9, that'll explain to me how to give them motivation, inspire them to do better work, communicate in a really clear way, etc. Mm-hmm. So it's a really helpful leadership tool.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of all of those things. I mean, there's a bunch of different tests out there, to be clear. These are the 2 that we really just love the most. I've done the Enneagram, and I'm not directly involved in the hiring here, so I don't see that one as much, but I still think it's really super neat. I love all that stuff. So, all right. So, Julia, I know you're going to love point 4. Take it away.
I love all of this. I love this whole topic. Handle problems fast. This goes back to what I was saying earlier. If somebody isn't doing well, talk to them quickly. And what that means is more immediate feedback. We're not waiting for annual reviews. We're not even waiting for semi-annual reviews. You're giving real-time feedback, not in a mean or bad way. Hey, you had this conversation yesterday or today. here's the issue. Let me be incredibly clear about what the issue is. And here is how we can make that better. So let's work together so we don't have this problem again and turn the problem into a learning opportunity. People are much, much more apt to receive feedback well, to learn from problems when they're getting real-time feedback rather than an annual review when they don't remember what they did yesterday. So why are they going to remember what happened 6 months ago? And then it feels like you're keeping a scorecard on them. That's not helpful.
That's not how you breed trust, productivity, or even a good relationship. It's actually how you crush and destroy someone's spirit.
Exactly. And the other part of that is if things are not working out, it might be time to let them go. Like I said earlier, fire fast. Oftentimes, especially the larger the company, people will, wait, change jobs for them, see if they respond better to a different supervisor, move them from department to department. But when really the problem is that they're not a cultural fit for the company or they don't meet their deadlines, there's some kind of larger problem at play. And rather than dealing with the problem head on and removing the person from the situation and allowing them to find something that will work better for them, you are exaggerating the problem and extending it. And it is very important to cut the fat and remove somebody who is not contributing. A couple episodes ago, we talked about not spending money, and removing people from your payroll that are not contributing is part of that.
Bravo. Very well said. I think there's a lot of truth to that. And, I'll be very honest with you. People who know me a little bit think that because I'm very decisive and I'm very blunt and I'm very strong, think that firing people is not hard for me. It is very hard for me, and it never gets easy because I care a great deal about people. And one of the biggest things I had to get over, we keep talking about this, is big, stupid feelings. At the end of the day, if the math ain't mathin', somebody's got to go and might need to chew a Xanax, but that person still has to go, and I got to put on my big girl pants and do it. And when I have made mistakes over the years, because I've made many, as have all leaders, one of the biggest mistakes I've made over the years was not letting people go quickly enough because I thought I could rehab them. Listen when I tell you, Julia and I have traveled this road well. There's ruts in the road, like well worn. You really can't rehab people. At the end of the day, they either fit or they don't. They either work or they don't. And when you're avoiding letting someone go, it's because you're emotionally invested. You're avoiding a hard conversation. And truly, if you rip off the Band-Aid and just go boldly into the hard conversation, which I've done countless times over the years, you do the right thing and you'll survive. And then go hug your fluffy kitty later and just cry it out if you need to. Firing people sucks. Employees think it's a very, very easy thing and that we're cold and heartless because they're like, you're firing me. Well, you have no idea. And this is where I finally understand this hurts me more than it hurts you because I've known about this for a while.
Right.
And I tried hard to avoid it, but I couldn't.
We have somebody on our team who's worked for us for a very, very long time. And one of the things he often says about my leadership style is if somebody's getting fired, they should know it because I have said things and I've given them feedback and I've tried to adjust. So if you are on the path to firing somebody, the person should be aware. They should know there's problems. And if they're not, maybe it's because they're sticking their head in the sand, et cetera. But it shouldn't come out of left field. It should be like, oh, okay, I kind of saw this coming.
Yep, that's very true. I think that, in your particular case, you provide lots of very direct feedback, a lot of coaching, a lot of very direct requests. Please do this. And you do not shy away from communication. So if someone is shocked by being fired from our company, you're not paying attention.
Yeah.
Thankfully, sweet baby Jesus, we have not needed to fire anyone in a very, very long time because we took our own advice and we slowed down our hiring process. And we have gotten very, very good at attracting very, very top talent, people that are team players, that are eager to jump in and really help. They're great communicators. And We love you all. You're not allowed to leave. That's it.
I was on a podcast over the pandemic. Somebody interviewed me for I think it was a leadership podcast. And one of the things they were saying is that they had heard that I was, quote, famous for having 100% staff retention through the pandemic. And I did. And we did. The only reason somebody has left in the past, I think it's 5 years, is because he was offered double the money. And I kicked him out the door.
We told him you'd be stupid not to take it. We love you.
Like, goodbye. Go.
Yeah.
Get out of here. And the way that you do that is not only treating people really, really well and paying them well and kind of non-monetary benefits, but you also treat them like an adult and you tell them when things are going really, really well and you tell them when things aren't going well.
Mm-hmm. Very true. All right. Last bit of advice here is promoting from within. And we're very excited to use Katrina as a shining example. Hope you're enjoying the show, Katrina. We love you. We're talking about you again. She just got promoted. What was it, like 2 months ago? And
a couple months ago. Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. And, we always saw potential in her. The timing was right. She brought it up. We brought it up. It was just a really wonderful opportunity to give a very, very hardworking part of the team a chance to move up in the company. But it also demonstrates to other people that if that's a path that they want and that's something that's possible for them, that they can have that. It demonstrates a lot of good things. When you just bring in your top talent instead of grooming it yourself, it doesn't send the most encouraging message to people on your staff. It basically says to them, you can't get where you want to go with us. There's no career path for you. So when we had the opportunity to promote from within, of course, we were all excited, especially Katrina. And everybody wins when you do that. And it's been a pleasure to really watch her blossom in the role and just witnessing the gusto that you and I have been able to see with attacking these new things. And it's nice to see. So you get to see lots of amazing things when you promote from within. So we're always going to be a big fan of that. Anything you want to add?
The only thing I would add is it's one of the biggest questions I get when I'm interviewing people is about career path development, opportunities for advancement. A lot of people I've been talking to recently are either in the process of leaving their jobs or have left their jobs because there was just no opportunities for advancement or they kind of went as far as they could. And that happened to me earlier on in my career where you kind of there's nothing left for me to do here. I could keep this job for the rest of my life, but there's no new learning, et cetera.
Yeah, you get bored.
Yes. And, in this instance, one of the great things is that Katrina would be supervising this person or will be supervising this person. And she is a prime example. She's been promoted twice. She's moved up. She's been with us for almost 5 years. And it's a great example of what's possible. It's not just lip service. We are serious about it.
Yep. Amen to that. Cool. Well, let's stick a bow on this. This has been a long episode. Julia, thank you for being with me. And you, my darling listener, we love you. Thank you for being here. The show is for you. Head to vision-advertising.com to give us your feedback. We'd really like to hear what you have to say. If you don't feel like doing that, please rate and review and subscribe. That would be super awesome.
Both YouTube and the podcast.
Yeah, that. So thank you. On that lovely note, we're going to see you in the next episode. And it's all about doing what leaders hate doing, asking for help. Ugh. We'll see you next episode.